Look, ladies, I know this isn't fair, but we're all always running against the worst cliche of who people think we are. Women Democrats can't look oversensitive or preachy or unable to laugh at themselves. They also can't look silly, like Gretchen Whitmer did, trying to hide in the Oval Office. They have to look brave and strong. It wasn't a good look for the woman party that all the guys were speaking out for Jimmy Kimmel when Trump went after him, except on the woman's show, where for 5 days the outspoken hosts were suddenly as quiet as a...
Bill Maher has recently shared his perspective on the growing influence of woke culture within the Democratic Party. This time, his commentary focuses on how certain approaches and attitudes have shaped modern political discourse. For years, Maher chose not to address the issue directly, but now he's speaking more openly about his views. Expressing his frustration with what he sees as excessive political correctness, Maher delivered his thoughts in his usual bold and straightforward manner. His commentary aims to spark discussion about how far the conversation on social awareness and inclusion has evolved. Let's take a closer look.
All the ways America continues to divide itself, nowhere is it more pronounced than in gender. And until the Democrats come to grips with that, they won't have much success winning elections. Let's just put it out there. Women are the Democrats' base, and men who get hit in the head for a living are Trumps. They're the bro party, the party of car shows on the White House lawn and breaking shit and seeing what happens and busting It's been that way for a long time. The mommy party and the daddy party, the party of pussy hats and the party of truck nuts.
Before diving into his latest commentary, Bill Maher set the stage with his signature clarity. He highlighted the contrast between the Democratic and Republican parties, outlining what he believes distinguishes their approaches. According to Maher, some Democrats appear overly cautious, focused on avoiding offense and striving to satisfy every viewpoint, while Republicans, in his view, tend to stand firm on their positions despite criticism. Maher suggested that this difference in confidence and conviction might be why many Americans, particularly those in the political center, are exploring conservative perspectives. For Maher, it's less about ideology and more about perceived courage. And just when it seemed like his point was made, he continued with even sharper insights. Let's take a look at the clip.
That divide is on steroids now and getting worse. In the 24 election, young men preferred Trump by 2 points, and young women, Kamala, by 24. The only way Trump can appeal to women 18 to 39 is making him one of his lawyers. Men and women can barely date anymore because they can't stomach each other's politics. That's why everyone is gay now. We're just done with each other. If you don't believe me, ask yourself, what podcasts do I listen to? Trump bros have 50,000 of them about politics and protein powder. While in the woman's sphere, the podcasts are all about balancing career and...
Modern dating has become more complicated than ever. Sure, it's always been a bit messy, but when politics enter the picture, it can feel like navigating an emotional minefield. What once centered around chemistry and genuine connection has, for many, turned into a test of shared beliefs and values. This shift isn't just about one side of the political spectrum. It's a reflection of how deeply divided today's conversations have become. Many people now find themselves prioritizing ideological alignment over emotional compatibility. The result is what some are calling a dating disconnect, where meaningful relationships struggle to grow in an age dominated by opinions, online debates, and social media narratives.
Here's a mind-blowing stat about the divide. 73% of boomer men disagreed with the statement, mental health challenges are an important part of my identity. 72% of Gen Z women said the opposite. They agreed, mental health challenges are an important part of my identity. Okay, let's say it all together. Women are better than men. They're smarter and kinder and make way better firefighters. But I'm never moving past it isn't really the campaign slogan we're looking for. I'm sorry, Democratic women, but this is your party. You have a special responsibility to look tough. Senator Alyssa Slotkin seems to get that, and not just because of her service in Iraq and with the CIA, but because she says things like, Democrats need to take the flag. Democrats have to stop being weak and woke.
Alyssa Slotkin made a strong point. The Democratic Party, in her view, has lost some of its focus. Instead of concentrating on the core issues that matter most to everyday Americans, the party often appears caught up in performative debates and internal divisions. Many longtime supporters feel that practical solutions and common-sense priorities have been overshadowed by symbolic gestures and online discourse. What was once a movement centered on working-class values now seems, to some, overly concerned with appealing to its most vocal segments. Slotkin's remarks highlighted a broader truth that many within the party are quietly acknowledging. When a movement focuses too heavily on image over impact, it risks losing the very people who helped build it.
No one's holding women back anymore. In many ways, they're leaving men in the dust. Women are much less likely to be unemployed now, less likely to blow a month's pay on DraftKings. And much more likely to complete college. America now has 14 million women-owned businesses, which generate $2.7 trillion in revenue. Yeah, women launch...
And this is the part of the conversation that often gets overlooked. Women in America are achieving incredible success. The reality is that women today are excelling in nearly every field. From higher education to entrepreneurship, leadership, and culture, their progress is undeniable. Yet some political narratives still tend to focus more on struggle than on success. While challenges certainly exist, the broader picture shows that women are breaking barriers, leading industries, and reshaping the nation's story in powerful ways. It's a reminder that empowerment doesn't come from being seen as victims, but from recognizing and celebrating just how far women have come and how much further they're ready to go.
Launched 49% of all new businesses in 2024, and the number of black women-owned businesses outpaced the growth rates of every other demographic. I'm spitting facts.
The numbers speak for themselves. Progress is happening across the board. Many communities, especially Black women, are leading the way in entrepreneurship and innovation, launching businesses at record levels and redefining what success looks like in America. These achievements challenge the outdated perception that opportunity is limited or unattainable. The data shows that determination, creativity, and resilience are driving real change, and that's something worth celebrating. Regardless of politics, it's clear that people across the country are breaking barriers, creating new possibilities, and proving that progress is very much alive in today's America.
Barbie movie, when she storms into the Mattel boardroom, it's 12 people, all men. But Mattel is a real company, and in 2023, their boardroom was actually 6 men and 5 women. Perpetuating victimhood, especially when it's false, is not a great advertisement for leadership. Kamala Harris's new memoir of the 24 election is called 107 Days, but it should have been called Everyone Sucks But Me.
In her new book, Vice President Kamala Harris offers her perspective on the challenges and setbacks of her political journey. Rather than focusing solely on personal responsibility, she reflects on the dynamics within her party and the broader campaign environment. Harris discusses her relationship with President Biden, the Democratic Party's strategy, and her thoughts on what could have strengthened the ticket. She even suggests that different running mate choices might have influenced the campaign's outcome. Critics argue that her reflections sound more like deflection than accountability, while supporters see them as honest insights into a complex political landscape. Either way, her book reignites the debate about leadership, responsibility, and the lessons learned from the campaign trail.
107 Days is a victim's title because, get it, she only had 107 days to win. Yeah, and $1.5 billion, and a built-in army of about 75 million people who'd vote for any human-adjacent life form that wasn't Trump. But in 107 days, nothing is ever Kamala's fault. Biden lets her down by not stepping down sooner. Pouty face emoji. Gavin Newsom, he was asked for his endorsement, but texted, "Hiking will call back." But then never did. And then he didn't even...
And this is where the debate over modern wokeness often becomes complicated. Many discussions around social issues tend to focus on assigning blame rather than finding real solutions. When problems like homelessness arise, the conversation can sometimes shift away from deeper causes, such as addiction, mental health challenges, or the need for stronger community support systems. Instead of addressing these root issues, policies can occasionally prioritize short-term optics over long-term recovery. True compassion isn't just about sympathy. It's about helping people rebuild, restore stability, and regain purpose. Real progress comes from empowerment, not avoidance, from courage, not comfort.
Itself lets Kamala down by not being ready for the running mate she really wanted, Pete Buttigieg. So she's stuck with the Home Depot paint salesman. And the rest is herstory. Poor Kamala. We made her the star of a rom-com and didn't even give her a gay best friend. Kamala writes that on election night, when it was clear she lost, an aide peeled the words "Madam President" off the cupcakes before handing them out. Oh, geez, that's like a scene from Bridget Jones Runs for President.
Many analysts believe Vice President Kamala Harris struggled to connect with voters during the election. Critics point to her time in office, arguing that her handling of major issues, including immigration and communication, hurt her public image. At times, her interviews and speeches were perceived as overly scripted, which led some to question her authenticity and leadership style. Others felt she leaned too heavily on political messaging instead of offering clear, practical solutions. As a result, her approval ratings declined, reflecting a broader frustration among voters who wanted stronger direction and more transparency. In the end, her campaign faced challenges not because of circumstance, but because many Americans were looking for results over rhetoric.
Look, ladies, I know this isn't fair, but we're all always running against the worst cliche of who people think we are. Women Democrats can't look oversensitive or preachy or unable to laugh at themselves. They also can't look silly, like Gretchen Whitmer did, trying to hide in the Oval Office. They have to look brave and strong. It wasn't a good look for the woman party that all the guys were speaking out for Jimmy Kimmel when Trump went after him, except on the Woman Show, where for 5 days the outspoken hosts were suddenly as quiet as a geisha. Then on the 5th day, they rose and said, "No one silences us." No one had to. You silenced.
Earlier, I covered how The View went noticeably quiet for several days after news surfaced about Jimmy Kimmel's temporary suspension. Here's the short version. When that story broke, it sent waves through the talk show world. Many speculated that hosts across networks were being cautious, unsure of what the controversy might mean for them. For nearly a week, The View avoided the topic altogether. But once reports confirmed Kimmel's show would return, the conversation quickly reignited. The hosts came back with strong takes and commentary as if nothing had happened. Bill Maher later addressed the situation, calling out what he saw as selective courage in the media, the tendency to speak boldly only when it feels safe to do so. It's a reminder that real conviction isn't about volume, it's about consistency.
Whoopi Goldberg continued, "Did you all really think we weren't going to talk about Jimmy Kimmel?" No, I thought you would, but then you didn't. 5 days? Talk about needing extra time to get ready. And if you can't take a breath and laugh at that, you're making my point for.
At the end of the day, Bill Maher's latest remarks go beyond simple criticism. They serve as a wake-up call. He's challenging his own side to take a hard look in the mirror and reflect on how far the movement has drifted from its original purpose. Maher argues that the Democratic Party has become too focused on appearances and labels and not focused enough on accountability, courage, and progress. From internal disagreements to mixed messaging, he believes the party's struggle lies in losing touch with everyday Americans who care about results more than rhetoric. His message is clear. Real leadership means facing uncomfortable truths, rebuilding trust, and putting substance over slogans. And whether you agree with him or not, it's hard to deny that his words strike a chord in today's political climate. And on that note, we wrap up today's video. If you enjoyed it, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss future uploads. Thanks for watching. And as always, stay focused, stay strong, and keep pushing forward.